Introduction. Centered in the maxilla, one on either side of median line, with mesial surface of each in contact with mesial surface of other. 2 in number, larger than the lateral incisor. These teeth supplement each other in function, and they are similar anatomically. Shearing or cutting teeth. Major function is to punch and cut food material during the process of mastication. These teeth have incisal ridges or edges rather than cusps such as are found on canines or posterior teeth. Maxillary central incisor name. Position. One tooth in each maxillary quadrant which are closest to midline. Function biting, cutting, incising or shearing. Tooth numbering. Universal system 8, 9. Said SIGMONDY Palmer A cake. FDI system 11, 21. Chronology. First evidence of calcification 3 to 4 months. Crown completion 4 to 5 years. Eruption 7 to 8 years. Root completion 10 to 11 years. Labial aspect. Crown. Labial surface of crown is usually convex, especially towards cervical third. Some central incisors are flat at middle or incisal portions. Mesial outline of crown is only slightly convex, with crest of curvature representing the contact area approaching mesio-incisal angle. Distal outline of the crown is more convex than mesial outline, with the crest of curvature higher toward the cervical line. Mesial margin straight, distal margin shorter or rounded. Disto-incisal angle is not as sharp as the mesio-incisal angle. Incisal outline is usually regular and straight in a mesiodistal direction. Disto-incisal angle more rounded, mesio-incisal angle less rounded. Crown length is greater at center than at the two mesial angles. Cervical outline of the crown follows a semicircular direction with the curvature root-wise widest anterior teeth. Convexity in cervical third. Developmental depressions. 2 straight, shallow depressions, which extend from incisal edge toward gingival, and fade out in middle third. Mesiolabial or distolabial developmental depressions, and they represent division of the 3 labial lobes. Imbrication lines. Faint, curved lines which roughly parallel the CEJ in cervical third of surface are not always present. Height of contour. The height of contour of the labial surface is located in the cervical third. Lingual aspect. Crown. The lingual outline is the reverse of that found on labial aspect. Lingual aspect has convexities and a concavity. Outline of cervical line is similar, but immediately below cervical line a smooth convexity is found. Cingulum. Between marginal ridges, below cingulum, a shallow concavity is present. Lingual fossa. Lingual fossa is bordered by, mesially, mesial marginal ridge. Incisally, lingual portion of the incisal ridge. Distally, distal marginal ridge. Cervically, cingulum. Developmental grooves extending from the cingulum into the lingual fossa. Mesial aspect. Crown is wedge-shaped, or triangular, with base of triangle at cervix and apex at incisal ridge. Line drawn through crown and root from mesial aspect through center of tooth bisect apex of root or incisal ridge of crown. Lingual outline. Convex, crest of curvature at the cingulum. Concave, at middle portion. Slightly convex, at linguo-incisal ridge or incisal edge. Cervical line mesially on maxillary. Central incisor curves incisally to a noticeable degree. Distal aspect. The distal surface closely resembles mesial surface, with following exceptions. A. Distal surface is generally smaller than mesial surface, because incisocervical dimension is shorter. B. Distal surface is more convex incisogingivally. C. The cervical margin does not curve as far incisally. D. Because it contacts the lateral incisor, which is a smaller tooth, distal contact area is accordingly smaller in size. Curvature of cervical line outlining the CEJ is less in extent on the distal than on the mesial surfaces. Incisal aspect. A view of the crown from this aspect superimposes it over the root entirely so that root is not visible. Labial face of the crown is relatively broad or flat in comparison with lingual surface, especially toward incisal third. Cervical portion of crown labially is convex, although arc described is broad. Outline of lingual portion tapers lingually toward cingulum. Cingulum of crown makes up cervical portion of lingual surface. Crown of this tooth shows more bulk from incisal aspect than from mesial or distal aspect. The labilingual calibration of crown is more than 2/3 as great as mesiodistal calibration. The crown conforms to a triangular outline reflected by outline of the root cross-section at cervix. Root. The root is single, conical, relatively straight, and tapers to a rounded apex. Horizontal cross-section of root near cervical line shows a rounded triangular outline. Normally, the root is wider at labial, which is the base of the triangle, and narrower at lingual, which is apex. A mid-root cross-section usually reveals a somewhat ovoid outline, which is wider labilingually than mesiodistally.